Good morning and Happy New Year. Welcome to Mobility Matters. I am your host, Javier Betancourt, Executive Director of the Citizens Independent Transportation Trust, or CITT. We're the agency of Miami-Dade County charged with overseeing your half-penny sales tax for transportation. You can learn more about us at www.miamidade.gov/CITT. So one of the things I love doing on behalf of the CITT is hosting this podcast, Mobility Matters, where we have amazing guests coming to talk to us about transportation, mobility, land use, everything associated with our great community and getting people around. And today I have two amazing guests who are here to speak on a really interesting project that's part of a larger project called the Smart Plan. My guests are Nilia Cartaya, Nilia with Florida Department of Transportation, District 6. Welcome, Nilia.
Thank you, Javier.
And Marie Dowell. Marie is with WSP, which is a private sector transportation, engineering, et cetera, firm here with offices around the world, but obviously here in Miami-Dade County as well. Welcome, Marie.
Well, thank you, Javier. Thank you.
Now, the one thing I was really bad about memorizing were your titles. So, Nilia, what is your title at FDOT? What do you do?
I am the Modal Development Administrator, and I'll simplify that for everyone. I oversee all our grant programs that support our various modes, such as transit, aviation, seaport. We also manage freight projects in addition to overseeing federal grant opportunities.
You know, people always forget about that piece of the transportation puzzle, right? All those packages we get from Amazon have to travel on our roadways and you know, the oceans and the air, and that takes a lot of logistical coordination and infrastructure. And Marie, what's your title and what do you do at WSP?
Sure. I'm a Senior Vice President for the National Transit and Rail Group. We help the world move. So whether it's transit or vehicles or boats and trucks, we just help move people from one point to the other, so globally, really.
Okay. And you represent two kind of distinct but related professions, which are civil engineering and urban planning, right? And the only thing we're missing here today is an architect. It's fine. They would hog the conversation. I love my fellow architects, truly. Urban planning. So let's describe that profession for people who don't know it, and then you please do the same for civil engineering. So what's an urban planner do?
So I get asked that question a lot, especially at family gatherings. They're like, what do you do again? And I say, well, I'm an urban planner. So let me try to explain. So, you know, the way cities are laid out, right? It doesn't just happen by chance, right? There's a thought process behind it. There's a way to do it so that the city can thrive. From your transportation infrastructure to your drainage to your sewer, your land uses, right? Where do I put my businesses, my homes, so that, you know, people can thrive and get to where they need to go? That's really the impetus behind urban planning. Okay.
And engineers?
Engineers have a very, very wide range.
Let's stick to civil engineers. What are civil engineers?
The civil engineer, we really look at transportation is one aspect, but also all of the other components that go into urban planning. So Nilia talked about the sewer lines, the drainage, and all of that. So, and then the houses, how do we connect the houses through the roadway? How do we set up a system that handles all of the things that come out of the houses? So a civil engineer really look at building infrastructure, bridges, roadways, train, rails, everything that helps you get from one point to the other.
Yeah, the way I've always described the difference is, so we're the dreamers, urban planning, right? Then we have the architects or the designers. You guys are the doers.
Yeah, architects
and then,
make
of course,
things
we have
pretty.
the people who build it, which are contractors and construction crews, who we appreciate as well. So fantastic. And I love to see the two of you working on something together, because it takes, you know, all these different components to make a project work. And today we're here to speak about one project in particular, and we can delve into other things as you wish. And that is the Flagler Street Demonstration Project, right? Yes. So tell us about that. Maybe start with kind of the broader, how it fits into the broader picture of the Smart Plan and what the project is, and at what point in the process we are. So we'll start with you, Nina.
Happy to do so. The Flagler Demonstration Project really was born out of the Smart Plan. The Smart Plan has a 20-mile Flagler corridor going from downtown Miami into the western suburbs of Miami-Dade County. And really, we were looking at repurposing a travel lane. So take a lane of traffic and dedicate it for buses. Now, 20 miles is a very, very long project, right? As you can imagine. So we thought, let's go ahead and carve out the easternmost segment, which is in the downtown core. So roughly east of 27th Avenue, right before the bridge into downtown. And let's repurpose those lanes in anticipation of a broader project. So that's really what this is. And that's why we coined it as a demonstration project. We're demonstrating to the community and to affected, agencies and stakeholders how well this will work. And that's what we're trying to achieve here. So we're taking an outside lane of travel right now where cars, buses, and bicycles actually use the lane, and we're repurposing it for buses. So we're gonna have bright red pavement out there, some great pavement markings and some signage to just let people know that, hey, this lane is for buses. What was the other question? I'm sorry.
That's a good place to start, and then Perfect. We'll turn to Marie. So Marie, is there anything you want to add to that? Maybe, a little more detail in terms of where we are in the process and what's coming up in these next few months that people should expect?
We started the process probably end of last year, and we have completed design, and the limits of the project will be on Flagler and Southwest First, and those two roadways are one pair, so each of them go in a different direction. And it's going to be for 24th Avenue to 6th Avenue, right before the bridge over the river. As Nilia mentioned, it'll be taking one lane of traffic and repurposing for buses only. That lane, painted bright red, will also allow vehicles to get in and out of businesses and homes along the roadway.
So we're not closing driveways. We're not taking away parking even.
No, we're not taking away parking. We're really enhancing that section of the road, and it's really a continuation of what exists right now on Southwest First, east of 2nd Avenue. That's been working quite well. We'll be improving bicycle lanes as well. There'll be in portion of the roadway, green painted bike lanes, and we are having a portion of the roadway as well dedicated to transit and bikes. So we're taking the cars away from there. The improvements, improving transit in that section is critical, right, to provide choice mobility, because that's a corridor that has one of the highest ridership in Metro-Dade of all the Metro bus routes.
Right.
So, and it's coming back to the pre-pandemic. It's one of the few routes that do that. So that's a corridor that really is appropriate to have such an application.
And that's largely because of the density along the corridor, right? A lot of people live and work on that corridor in close proximity to the roadway, which makes it ideal for transit.
Yes.
So correct. Just to be clear for people, because it's I wish we had visuals, and we'll do better about that in the future. And by the way, if people do want to see, the conceptual plans and stuff, and download some information, I'm sure it's located on some website.
We have a project website, and we're happy to leave that.
You wish to share more or less where they can find that?
It's a long
one. I'm not gonna.
Sorry to put you on the spot.
I think if you Google,
if you go to southfloridaroads.com,
yeah,
and you navigate towards DOT District 6, you'll find it in our construction.
southfloridaroads.com, FDOT District 6, and you'll find the Flagler Street demonstration project somewhere on there. Excellent. Okay, so let's start. How many lanes are there currently today? And it may differ, but by and large, how many lanes are we talking about in each direction?
It's 3 lanes in each direction, and then parking on both sides.
Okay, so that's the way it exists today, and that's a lot of lanes.
That's a lot of lanes
for an urban area. And so the idea is you can repurpose one of those lanes for transit without really impacting traffic too much. But the demonstration project will show if that's the case, right?
Correct.
So we have the sidewalks, which were another FDOT project completed not too long ago, and those are remaining. Then we have the parallel parking, to support the businesses, because really not a lot of parking garages in the area, right?
Yeah.
Then we have what you're introducing new is that green bicycle lane, but really that's not new because there's an existing lane there today.
So we have existing bicycle lanes.
But they're not green.
Okay.
And the green helps, right? Because that really identifies that this is for bicyclists only and keeps cars away, hopefully. Then on the other side of those bike lanes is where you really start to add something new, which is the dedicated bus lane, correct?
Yes, correct.
And those will be what color?
Red.
Again, those will be red. So, and I'm sure people are starting to get used to that. They're seeing it on State Road 836. You have that red stripe in the what do you call that area? Oh
The
my
shoulder.
gosh. The
The
shoulder,
shoulder.
thank you. And then you do have that complete street in downtown Miami that's had that red lane. So, that's an introduction in transforming what's currently vehicular lane into that bus only lane. And then, of course, you maintain the vehicular lanes,
Yes.
right, two in each direction.
Yes.
Fantastic. And then, again, I'm sorry we don't have pictures for you, but if you go to the website, you can download this. I know that there was an FDOT project not too long ago, and it wreaked havoc on the community at the time. And so I'm sure the business owners there in particular are concerned about, okay, here we go again. We're going to be impacting traffic. We're going to be impacting customers. But you've done a great job, really, of thinking about that and reaching out to the businesses. Can you tell us more about that?
Absolutely, I'm happy to. So we did a very robust door-to-door outreach along the entire length of the corridor, myself included, walked the entire corridor.
On a rainy day.
On a rainy day. With a great team of folks, and we had flyers, and we went door to door. We went inside every single business that was open, of course. We talked to the business owners. We explained the project. We explained the difference between our project and the previous project. And most of them, for the most part, understood. And I can say that when we left, they were comfortable with what was being proposed.
And this isn't going to be nearly as intense of a construction site
Not
as the
nearly as
previous.
intense. And really, that was the messaging. The prior project was a full reconstruction of a roadway that had a lot of underground work with utilities, drainage. This is a much more less intense job. You are simply resurfacing pavement and applying some markings and signage.
Okay. Marie, how long is this all going to take?
It's going to be about 6 months.
Okay, it's not too bad.
Not too bad. But now doing construction, and that's one of the discussion with the business owners and residents along the corridor as well. You can't make an omelet without breaking an egg. So, but all of the measures have been taken to be able to address dust. For example, when we mill the roadway, so the contractors will need to wet the pavement to avoid dust. Noise, there'll be some noise because of the equipment, but again, the construction will take place during, not during nighttime, and also during off-peak hours, so no impact to traffic. What else?
So really, you're doing everything you can to minimize what little disruptions there may
Yes,
correct.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. And you've gotten positive feedback from the
We
community.
have. We've
Yes.
gotten positive feedback.
And I know you've also done a very good job of really reaching out and working with your partners, right? Both municipal partners, the county, other organizations. So tell us a little bit about that.
Absolutely. So we've had various presentations throughout the project. We've had a public workshop on the project corridor. We had representation there from local elected officials, which was wonderful. We've reached out to our partner agencies, more importantly, Miami-Dade County Transit, since they're the ones operating the buses. They've worked with us hand in hand throughout the process, reviewing the plans, asking questions, and now as we move into the construction phase, working hand in hand with us to help get the word out as well. And with CITT as well, we've had meetings. And
City of Miami.
City of
This
Miami.
obviously falls entirely within the city's
Yes,
jurisdiction.
entirely within the City of Miami. The TPO, of course, has been a partner. Florida Highway Patrol also, of course. We can't forget about them. And I think we have covered most of our partners.
Yes. Yeah.
So I know one of the concerns people might immediately have is, okay, you have these lanes. What's to keep cars out of them, right? This is Miami. We have a certain, let's say, driving culture that is unique in the world. People don't always obey our laws. And so you're going to have these green and red lanes. But number one, cars can traverse those lanes to get into driveways and parking. But what's to actually keep them from, going down those lanes to avoid traffic?
So I'll start with signage.
Yeah.
Our signage has been vetted with City of Miami Police, with Florida Highway Patrol. It is enforceable. There is, of course, a fine that can be applied in the form of a ticket, right? If the driver does violate, the parameters of that lane. So that's the primary form of enforcement that we have.
And actually, when you look at the portion of the bat lane or similar application that exists on Southwest First, I'm surprised. People are respecting those red paints.
Really? Okay.
Yes, been driving.
Probably more so than the green one. 'Cause all I ever see in the green lanes, which are the bicycle lanes in downtown Miami, are Amazon and UPS and FedEx. So it's not so much even people driving down the lanes, but you do have this issue of these delivery companies using it, to park.
Yeah.
So but
it's been working.
But it has been working.
It has been working on the section
Right.
that exists now.
And to some extent, the whole point of this project is to see what works, what doesn't work,
Of
and then you
course.
could tweak things
Of
accordingly.
course, and that's
right?
an important component, monitoring of the project. We have a 1-year monitoring program that'll kick off as soon as the project is operational, and we'll be gathering performance data.
So how does that monitoring work? Is there somebody out there with, an old-fashioned notepad, or is there like some technology behind this monitoring?
So there'll be a little bit of both. We will get reports from law enforcement, Florida Highway Patrol and City of Miami Police Department on a monthly basis. So we'll monitor that. We also, DOT has a wealth of information on safety data as well. So any incidents with vehicles or pedestrian or bicycle will be recorded, and we'll be looking at that. And we'll leave a maturing period right after the construction is over for people to get used to those new lanes. And we'll do a traffic count. So you'll have some tubes out there and some cameras out there counting cars. And we'll compare that with the data that we have collected before we started the study. We'll also be doing travel time studies to see what is the impact on cars, but also on the transit buses. We'll look at the ridership that's collected by Miami-Dade Department of Transportation and Public Works. So it'll be a visual, but it'll also be technology.
And I imagine you'll also hear from the people, right?
Oh,
Absolutely.
yes.
The transit riders, the
Yes.
businesses,
Yes.
so you'll get an earful.
Yes.
Excellent. And so as we said earlier, this is part of a larger project, the Strategic Miami Area Rapid Transit Program, no longer a plan, the SMART program. And it's going to influence not only what happens on the larger Flagler Street corridor, but perhaps other corridors in the SMART plan. For instance, the Kendall corridor, right, which is awaiting the results of this demonstration project. Is that something you could speak to a little?
Sure. So the Kendall corridor, again, it's very similar in the sense that we started the study at the same time in 2016, just like Flagler. We looked at different alternatives and arrived at the curbside bus-only lane. And again, it's a good time, to have a demonstration project, like you mentioned, to then really test it out, see how well it performs, and then assess, how best to move forward on the Kendall corridor.
In the Kendall corridor, for those who may not be familiar with it, what are the...
So we're talking about Kendall Drive from the Dayland North Metro Rail Station, right next to Dayland Mall, all the way out west to the West Kendall Baptist Hospital.
Right. And that obviously was studied, they looked at Metro Rail, they looked at other alternatives.
Looked at a lot of alternatives.
Obviously a very complex street.
Yes.
You can't really expand it. And so you're faced with really the reality of taking a lane, which is very controversial in our community. And so this will help to demonstrate whether that's possible or not, right?
Yes.
Excellent. Any other corridors in the SMART plan that are looking at bus rapid transit that this might help to kind of influence or?
Well, the other
Potentially
section,
not. Right. I mean,
the other section of Flagler,
Sure.
Nilia mentioned
Right.
the 20 miles. So right now we're waiting for the results of that demonstration project on Flagler to be able to apply that to the Flagler, but also open it to other corridors. I mean, the SMART program, the SMART program has 7 BERT, Bus Express Rapid Transit, it's lots of acronyms, that could be applied to as well. So it is, this project, we're excited about this project, really. Not only to learn about how it's going to work, but also to identify any lessons learned that could be applied and bettered on other corridors. This podcast is about mobility. I mean, we keep growing. Everybody's going to keep coming to Miami. There's no doubt about it. We have to find innovative solution to maximize the right of way that we have. As you mentioned, we can't keep widening roads. So,
especially in our urban areas, right?
No,
Right.
You can't get more urban than the Flagler corridor.
that's correct.
Now, Flagler does change, right? As it continues west, it's no longer kind of that pair of streets. Everything comes together on Flagler itself. Is that a challenge, kind of moving forward? Because you might have less to work with.
It is a challenge. It starts with 6 lanes out west, and then narrows down. 6 lanes with median, and then narrows down to 4 lane with no median, so no space in between, and with residences and businesses having access straight on Flagler. It is a challenge, but it is an opportunity as well. So out west, you've got the 6 lanes of traffic, so the impact of repurposing a lane for transit only is less than in the 4 lane section. But one size doesn't fit all.
Right.
So looking at the entire corridor and urban planning, right? Looking at what is the appropriate use of the right-of-way that you have, and where that repurposing a lane of traffic makes more sense for everybody. It is a balance. We have to balance people that walk, people that bike, people that drive, and people that use transit. And that's always at the forefront of the
Not to mention the land use considerations, environmental considerations, social equity, right? It's a very complex thing.
Yes.
People, it's not as simple as just, getting from point A to point B. There's a lot more that goes into it.
True.
Not to mention the state and federal permitting process that we all have to go through for these projects, right?
Yes.
Which can take a lot of time and money. Okay, so let's talk a little more broadly now again with the SMART plan, since I have the two of you here. Are there any other corridors that you're working on together?
We are working on other corridors.
WSP, or which other corridors are you involved in?
I'll start with the DOT corridors,
Okay.
and then WSP can. So the DOT corridors that we're working on right now, Flagler demonstration, of course, which we're talking about today. We're talking also about the Flagler corridor, the broader Flagler corridor, the Kendall corridor, which we touched upon briefly, and also the North corridor, which is on 27th Avenue, which is one of our priority corridors.
Right. 27th Avenue from Martin Luther King Station up to the county line.
215 county line.
Right. And currently, I think the preferred alternative for that is elevated, what are we calling
Heavy
it?
rail.
Elevated heavy rail, so Metro Rail.
Metro
Rail. There you go.
Thank you. And what else are you working on?
So besides having the pleasure of working with Nilia on those 2 projects, we're also working on the East-West corridor, which is a bus rapid transit on the East-West on State Road 836 from the Dolphin Station all
The
the
Dolphin
way.
Park and Ride out
Dolphin
west.
Park and Ride Station. Thank you very much. To the airport, and then with service continuing to downtown.
Okay, and so all these corridors are in some kind of stage of either planning, development, or construction, right? We didn't talk about South Corridor, because I guess that's more of a county project at this point. But that's under construction, and hopefully will open up soon, relatively soon. So all these things are advancing, and that's really important, I think, for people to understand, because promises have been made in the past. Some people felt like they weren't kept, but it's under development, and hopefully coming to a roadway near you soon.
Very soon.
Yes.
The South Corridor, if I may add, it is really an amazing project, and I really encourage everybody to go and take a trip down there to look at those amazing stations and the park and ride that's being built, and it's
very impressive.
It's very impressive. Yes.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the South Corridor, because there are elements of that project. It's called Gold Standard Bus Rapid Transit, right? So there are different levels of bus rapid transit, depending on how many amenities and features it has. So in South Corridor, it's Gold Standard. It's going to be the creme de la creme. And that's why the stations are so beautiful. They're going to have air-conditioned vestibules. You'll be able to prepay fares, level boarding, all the stops. Are we going to see any of those elements potentially on the Flagler corridor, or is it just the dedicated lane?
You're going to see some of those elements. Again, it's about the setting, the room that you have to work with. The South Corridor, we had the luxury of having a corridor, that already was dedicated for that. But as you mentioned before, on the Flagler, you're going from a 6-lane, relatively a lot of room to a very constrained area. So we will apply as much as the elements of a gold standard as much as possible. Because if you think of the section that's constrained, I mean, we could potentially, widen it and have beautiful station, but you would get rid of the people that would use the system.
Right.
So it's going to be again, not one size fits all, but we will apply as much of these elements of a gold standard as possible.
Fantastic. So, okay, I think that's enough about the Flagler Corridor. And again, if you're interested in learning more, please visit, what's that website again?
SouthFloridaRoads.com.
SouthFloridaRoads.com. Find your way to FDOT District 6, and you should be able to find more information on the project there. So let's talk a little bit about you all, because, I love to learn about people. And obviously I did a little research and found some information on LinkedIn. So you're both proud FIU Golden Panthers, correct?
Yes.
Go Panthers.
Yes, go Panthers.
Go Panthers. And I believe you also went to Barry University. I don't know what the mascot is at
It's a Buccaneer.
The Buccaneer. Excellent. So both local institutions that we love. And Marie, you're also involved with FIU in some capacity. What do you do?
Yes. Besides being an alum, I am part of the President's Club, which is a group that looks at programs for FIU. What is it that we need to take from the industry? Because one of the things that we try to do is what you learn in school may not necessarily prepare you for the workplace. So what is it that the industry does? How to better prepare you really for the real world.
And I have to give credit to FIU, because one of the things I have found is that the engineering school in particular has a very diverse student body and has graduated people from all races and ethnicities, certainly, but also a lot of women. And if you look at the engineers in Miami in particular, we have a lot of women engineers and women in leadership in what is traditionally a male-dominated profession, right? You think Alice Bravo, yourself, Stacey. Many of our top engineers in Miami-Dade County are women, and I think that's fantastic. As a father of twin girls myself, I'm really proud of that.
Who will be engineers?
Yes. Oh gosh, not if they got my genes. I'm more of the dreamer, urban planner type, and obviously a lot of females urban planners as well.
Yes.
And so tell us a little bit about your experience as an urban planner in Miami. How did you get into that profession? What interested you in a profession no one's ever heard of?
I have there's an interesting background to that. So my bachelor's degree is in psychology. So I started in the psychology world. I was going to pursue that, and then had the wonderful opportunity to work at FDOT at District 6 and really learn about and discover urban planning, discover transportation, and was fascinated by it. And really quickly made the decision that, really the best way to improve quality of life is to make a difference in the built environment. And that's what prompted me to go to my guidance counselor at FIU and say, sorry, I'm going to the College of Engineering. And they were looking at me in shock. And that's how I made the change.
I have to imagine actually having that background is helpful.
It's very helpful.
In what you do, right?
Extremely. I
can see you analyzing me just we sit here. We'll have a private session later.
Absolutely.
I can use some help.
Yes.
So curious, how do you apply actually some of that psychological training to what you do?
So a lot of it is really listening to folks. I think we need to do a lot of that in our profession, really truly listening to our communities, our stakeholders, and doing our best really to deliver projects that address the community. Because at the end of the day, we are building something for the community. So we really need to just be really good listeners. And I think that that's a skill that's very helpful. And it's helped me a lot.
Practicing like communal psychology, right?
Yes.
Would that be sociology? I don't know the profession that well. Great. And so, listen, I know got much more career ahead of you because you're both very young, but let's look back at your career thus far. What are some of the projects, programs that you're most proud of that you've been involved in? And we'll start with you, Marie.
Oh, there's a long list, and I'm not that young. So, for the Miami Tunnel,
Port Miami Tunnel.
Port Miami Tunnel.
That's a big one.
It's a big one. And that's really being an engineer, right, particularly in Miami, and see the area grow and then being part of projects that made a difference. Port of Miami Tunnel is one of them. The Central Boulevard, right, the roadway from the airport, Miami International Airport, to I-95 and
oh my gosh.
all that.
An underappreciated project, because I remember, and many people remember what that roadway used to be like. And
Yes.
It was just some rinky-dink road, with like any other, and yet critically important to the airport, and it would be just awful.
Awful.
Right, and so that's a
Miami
big one.
Miami Intermodal Center, because
Yes.
remember, the rental car was at the airport, and
Right.
that was mayhem. So that's one. The other, a lot of Miami-Dade Expressway Authority projects, including the 826, 836 interchange.
The spaghetti bowl, as I call it.
Spaghetti bowls, yes, yeah. Every time I drive through it with friends and family, I said, this is amazing. Look
Yeah.
at this. I said, this is a mess. I don't know how to manage it, but they're getting to it.
Well, they don't appreciate what it was like before.
That was like before, that's right. And outside of Miami, one very interesting project that I was involved with, which I had a little bit of urban planning hat, is developing the first master transportation plan for the Virgin Islands, U.S. Virgin Islands territory.
Oh, great.
So we looked at all of the islands, the ferry boat, the airport, their transit, their roadway. It was an amazing project.
And most importantly, allowed you to travel to the U.S. Virgin Islands on a regular basis.
that was a bonus.
Of course. And how about you, Nilia?
So going back, I do have a lot of wonderful projects that I was involved with, particularly Miami Central. There's a mezzanine pedestrian bridge that is to connect directly to the government center station. I was intricately involved in reviewing the plans for Miami Central.
And Miami Central, for those who don't know, is the station for Brightline and now
soon
Tri-Rail.
Tri-Rail, right?
Downtown, yeah.
Yeah, so was intricately involved in reviewing the plans and making sure that connectivity among the modes was going to be provided. So that was an exciting project. Aside from that, I also was intricately involved in the American Dream Mall plan reviews, CDMP reviews, making sure that there was a transit hub, right, for that massive, development that was coming online, making sure that, there was some sort of concurrency that was going to be met for transit, making sure that, bus routes would be, routed to serve the mall. That was another exciting project. Let's see, what else?
Those are good ones. Listen, and as I said, I think your best projects are ahead of you. Right. And certainly Flagler Street and the smart plan and getting that completed would be, a major legacy for all of us. So keep at it, please.
All right,
On behalf of the citizens of Miami-Dade County, make it happen.
We will.
Any words of wisdom for young folks out there who are maybe interested in becoming an urban planner or a civil engineer, about your profession, about, how they might best get into those and what they should expect? We'll start with you, Marie.
All right, thank you, Javier.
And in fairness, I didn't let you know that I was going to be asking some of these questions, so I know you're just not thinking about them.
To become a civil engineer, keep at it. Yeah. Don't listen to anyone who says, particularly you're a girl, you don't belong there. We bring a very different way of thinking. To me, we complement, right, our counterpart, the man side. And so to come up with solutions that help everybody. Don't underestimate understanding politics. When you are employed, understand where the money comes from.
Follow the money, right?
Follow the money. How does your company make money? Yeah. And how do you fit? What value do you bring in bringing that money? Because, you bring value, you'll stay there and you learn. Never underestimate having a mentor, whether it's in the place of work or outside.
May I ask who your mentor was, growing up?
Oh boy, I got a whole long list. It went from technical, other people, Alice Bravo, Darlene Fernandez. Sometimes there are mentors that I look from afar. One of the very crucial things that I've learned from the psychological side of Nilia is respect for everybody.
Yeah.
It's kind of a no-brainer, but she really does exude that, right? Your opinion is important, and then followed by the listening. So those are the things.
And you?
I would say.
Now that you've had a couple minutes to think about it.
Thank you, Marie. I would say definitely learn about the profession. I think a lot of young folks, or at least when I was younger, I didn't know about it.
Yeah, very few.
And really, take your time to learn about it and look at all the positive change that you can bring, right, from pursuing a profession in urban planning. And I would say don't get discouraged as well, because as a young urban planner, you may come in with all these wonderful ideas.
We're going to change the world.
We're going to change the world. And then you may be discouraged. Again, processes that are in place, certain relationships, don't be discouraged. There's a process, there's a reason for the process. And sometimes even though you may think, the process isn't quite working the way I thought it would, in the end, it will work out.
Right.
And just have faith that, again, the process is there for a reason and it will work out in the end. And positive change will come.
Yeah, many people compare policy making and what we do for a living like making sausage. It's not pretty on the back end.
It's not pretty, but...
You never want to open a kitchen door and see them making the sausage.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it comes out and it's delicious.
Exactly.
And,
Yeah.
A little ketchup and mustard. And
There you
good.
go.
Well, wonderful. Well, listen, I really want to thank you both for what you do and what you continue to do to make our community better. And for being a guest on my show, I really appreciate it. So
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, and welcome back anytime.
Continue the great work that you're doing.
Yes.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Follow the money.
And I want to thank you folks for joining us here on our first Mobility Matters episode of 2024. Again, please learn more about the wonderful project at the websites we referenced earlier. You can learn more about the CITT at miamidade.gov/CITT. And in particular, if you're interested in being a part of the solution, we are looking for trust members. These are volunteers who meet on a monthly basis to review all the work that we are doing, approve projects on behalf of the county, FDOT, and others. And we are seeking applicants. If you're interested, again, please visit our website. And finally, if you're a regular transit rider, you can also be a part of the solution by becoming a CITT ambassador. Be our eyes and ears on the street, in the buses, on the trains, at the stations. Let us know the good, the bad, and the ugly, and we will feed that information to the county and our partners to improve the system. Again, that information is all available on our website, miamidade.gov/CITT. Thank you, and join us here in a couple of weeks, every other Thursday from 9 to 10 a.m. for another episode of Mobility Matters. Happy 2024, everyone.